Oh, hello. Welcome to the Insta Gamers Network. Today we're going to talk about gateway games. Those games that are good for people who are just starting with board gaming or people who just want to do something a little bit lighter today.
Hi everybody, Chumbo Gamer here. Today I'd like to speak to you about one of my most favourite gateway games, and that is Alhambra. Alhambra is a Euro game. It plays 2 to 6 straight out of the box. It's one of the oldest games I've owned, and yet it still makes it to the table all the time. Really easy to play, perfect for gateway gaming, and it is a fantastic introduction into Euro games. In Alhambra, players compete to build their own Spanish palace. Use in-game cash to buy building tiles which are randomly drawn from a bag, and then you add them to your palace. There are 3 scoring rounds in the game, and you score points for having the most of one type of building. In this case, with my arcades, if I had the most, I'd score 10 points. You can get extra points from having a long adjoining wall. I get an extra 5 points here for this wall. The game ends when there are no more tiles to draw out of the bag. You tally up your points, and whoever has the most points wins the game. I just think this is an awesome gateway game. I also think it's a game that everybody should just own and have in their collection. The fact that it plays 2 to 6 straight out of the box, and the fact that there's next to no rules, easy to teach, easy to learn, plenty of expansions as well, although the core game is awesome just on its own, makes this game a no-brainer. Give it a try, you won't be disappointed.
Hello, my name is Joe Sandow, and I'm a panda. When people ask me what board game they should start with, I often recommend Takenoko. It's an adorable game for 2 to 4 players, designed by Antoine Boza, about tending a Japanese garden filled with bamboo and feeding the giant panda who wants to eat that bamboo. The Emperor of China gifted to the Emperor of Japan a giant panda. It's our job as players to see that the panda is well tended to and that the garden is beautiful and flourishes. On a player's turn, they roll the weather die to see what bonus event happens. Then they take 2 actions from a set of 5 options: to place a tile in the garden, to add irrigation, move the gardener to grow more bamboo, move the panda to eat some bamboo, or to draw an additional objective card, to arrange the garden in ways that are aesthetically pleasing to the emperor, to grow bamboo in combinations that are aesthetically pleasing to the gardener, to eat bamboo in combinations that are most delicious to your panda. When a player has completed 7 objectives, the emperor comes out to inspect their work, giving them a bonus of 2 points. The other players then have 1 additional turn, and then the game ends, and the player with the most points is the winner. Takenoko is a serene and beautiful game with a satisfying visual and tactile experience that gets more interesting as the garden grows around the panda. If you play it enough and you do find that it's a little bit too simple for you, I highly recommend the Takenoko Chibi's expansion. A mama panda with the ability to produce baby pandas for bonus points and other bonuses in the game, as well as more complicated types of plot cards and objective cards. I'm Joe Sandow. Thanks for watching.
Hi everyone, my name's Annette, and you might know me on social media as Netters Plays. Well, today I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about a gateway game that I recommend. So, a gateway game to me is a game that you can easily introduce to someone that doesn't usually play a lot of board games. And I like to play a lot of heavy strategy Euro games that can typically intimidate people, but sometimes they're not that difficult. So a game that I like to introduce to people to the games that I like is Stone Age. So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more about this game and why I recommend it as a great gateway game. The first thing you'll notice with Stone Age is that there's a massive board in the middle of the table. And every single person is going to get their own little personal board, which resembles their tribe. Now, of course, in their tribe, they're going to have cave people. And these cave people are going to go out into the world to get different resources for their tribes. Now, if you go hunt for some food, you might bring home some fish to feed the rest of your tribe members. Or you can send them out to the forest to collect some wood. You can also get some bricks, some stones, and some gold. But dice are involved. So if you put a worker here, you're going to get a dice to roll. If you put 2 workers out here in the forest, you get 2 dice to roll. So you can put them in this cup, roll it, and depending on that roll, you'll get a certain amount of wood back. Why are you collecting these resources? Well, you can build huts. So in this example, you can collect these resources to build yourself a hut. And then you'll get 14 points. If you get points, then whoever collects the most points at the end of the game will win. So points are very important. How else do you collect points? Well, you can collect points by collecting these cards as well with those resources. If you collect different sets of cards, then you'll get points at the end of the game. So this game will teach you how to manage your resources. It would also teach you how to place your workers, worker placement, and also how to set collect and collect different types of cards to win the game in the end. Let's not forget the best part. Another place you can send your worker to is the Love Hut, where if you send 2 workers to, you'll get a baby cave person. Well, I hope you enjoyed that overview of Stone Age. It's a great gateway game to introduce to people why board games are just so great. So if you get a chance, try it out.
Hey guys, Milton Plays Tabletop here, and I'm here to introduce you to my favorite gateway game, which is Splendor. The definition of a gateway game is to have people get into the hobby, and I think Splendor is a great way to get into tabletop gaming for a few reasons. One, the setup. It's so easy to set up. I mean, it doesn't take 10 to 15 minutes to set up the board like most games. You just lay out your cards, lay out your gems, right? Lay out your nobles, and then that's it. You're done, right? And the next up is the rules. I mean, the rule book is literally just two pages, 3 pages. And I think that's the beauty of this game, is that it's really, really easy to play. But it's also pretty complicated as well. If you start to see the mechanisms at work here, right? It's an engine building game, right? So the more properties that you buy, the more things you can do. But then a strategy starts to dawn on people as to which properties they really want to target and which ones they want to reserve. And I think it's really exciting too. I'm a middle school teacher, and I brought this to my school, and my kids love it. And when middle school students love a tabletop game, that says something, because they're usually stuck with their video games or whatever the case may be. But I've introduced this to my students, and they absolutely love this game. So that's why I think Splendor is my gateway game, because it's really easy to get into. The setup is tremendously easy to do. The rule book is really small. It's really easy to explain to people, and it's damn fun. I hope you enjoy.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a segment with To Die For Games. I'm Mandy, the board gaming pinup girl.
I'm Tracy, the gaming maven.
And I'm Steph, the games teacher.
So today we're going to be talking about our favorite gateway game. But before we get to that, we just wanted to wish you a
Happy Canada Day!
So obviously it's Canada Day here. We wanted to wish fellow Canadians and everyone else a happy Canada Day.
It's really hot out here today. It's about 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 86 degrees Fahrenheit for all you people south of the border. We're going to play a game that's set in the deserts of Nacala.
5 Tribes is a game designed by Bruno Cathala, published by Days of Wonder, plays 2 to 4 players in about 40 to 80 minutes. The objective is basically to get the most points by the end of the game by scoring through various methods.
5 Tribes is a very interesting bidding mechanic for turn order.
And then we have our lovely Jinn here. Our Jinns give us magical powers. Some cost money, some don't. Or some cost not money, but various costs to activate. And there's a lovely little cheat sheet here that tells you all about them.
So as you can see, we have lots going on. We've got some coins, oasis, palace, camels. We even have resource cards in the marketplace. And of course, the beautiful meeples with the tiles. My favorite.
I love all the little wooden bits.
meeples.
We know Tracy loves her components.
Components.
Yeah, she's excited. So let's start here. We start by grabbing on any tile with the meeples. We drop them as we go. So I'm going to drop one here, making sure that the color I drop on this tile is the same as one that's here. I got the green ones, which means I'm going to be taking the merchant action. So I would take the action of the meeples, the action that's on the tile. And that's it. So I think I pretty much covered it. I love this game. I love the colors. The meeples are beautiful. This is a great game. It's one of the games I showed my friends when I first started.
Really fun game. Anything by Days of Wonder is a high quality product. So.
And this placement mechanic is really cool and unique, so this is really what caught my eye when I played this game the first time.
Definitely. A game I can play over and over again. It's been a while, but I think it's great.
It's
so,
a classic.
If you haven't played it, check it out.
So I think we're going to grab some watermelon and play a little round of 5 Tribes. So, Gateway game, check it out. Thanks for joining us, guys. Bye.
Gateway gaming is very interesting because it is the gateway to gaming. So what better way to gateway than to Codenames? Codenames is a fantastically easy party game to learn for all ages and all players. Begin by setting up a grid of 5x5 of these cards. Once you've done that, get into 2 teams. It doesn't have to be even. Choose one person in that team to be a spy master. Everyone else are field operatives who are going to find the spies within the grid of 5x5 cards that look like this. So how does it work? The spy master will look at every single card in the grid and find cards that could relate in some way with a word. After he says this word, he says how many numbers of cards relate to it. For example, I have these 2 cards. I would say location 2. So if you find Egypt and Tokyo, well, guess what? You just found what I was looking for. What that does is gives your team a point, whether you're blue or red. And I know this because as a spy master, I'm looking at a grid that looks like this and can be any way, and your field operatives cannot see. Depending on what team I am, it'll be located in the 5x5 grid of where you chose those cards. Now here's the catch. What is this color? It's simple. It's just a bystander. No, you don't get a point. But it's fine. Your opponent didn't get a point either. What is this X? Man, well, if you get that, that's the assassin. You just lost the game for your team. Play continues until someone has filled up every card on their grid, which is fairly simple. Why is this perfect? Fantastic question. Let me get to that. It is mostly a verbal interactive card game. So there aren't mechanics for players to learn, and there's not many components for people to work with. It's just cards with words on it. You choose a couple words, find a word that relates them together, and then say how many cards exist in this word. Very simple, and I love it. People who I introduced it to love it, and it's the best way to get people to come on in to our community to play board games.
Hello again. As you know, today we're talking about gateway games. I had the perfect game. I know it's floating around here somewhere. Cloud9, designed by Aaron Weisblum and published by Out of the Box, is one of my favorite games to introduce to new players. Not only is this game simple and a blast to play, but it also introduces new players to the push your luck mechanism. Each player is given 6 balloon cards and a player token. They place the player token in the balloon and they're off and ready to go. Players then take turns being the pilot and roll an increasing number of special balloon dice. If they can match their cards to the dice that they've rolled, the balloon then moves up to the next cloud. But the question is, will you stay in and try to push your luck to get the points? Or will you play it easy and keep what you have? Well, the choice is yours in Cloud9, my favorite gateway game.
Now, if you know anything about me, you know what my top pick for a gateway game is. Yes, that's right. Ticket to Ride. Now, this is the 10th anniversary version. I actually upgraded to this version and gave my original version to my friend. That's how much I love this game. And the trains that you're seeing here, they're actually the new trains. If you see up in the front are the original trains from Ticket to Ride, in the back are the updated trains. Now, ironically, Ticket to Ride wasn't even my personal gateway game. I was turned off by the box art, even though I like it now. It had that weird old-timey feel, and the back of the box had all kinds of trains, and it looked like a heavy Euro. And I was coming into gaming from party games, so it was a real turn-off. I thought it would be overly complicated. But then one day, I just broke down, I finally played it, and I never looked back. I was instantly hooked by the simple mechanics, which yielded in-depth strategy without being too heady. It was easy to learn. It had just enough strategy involved to make you feel like you had complete control over the outcome of your choices. It is the very definition of a gateway game, just enough to entice you, eventually leaving you wanting to learn and do more as you get used to it. It's the game I use to introduce to friends who don't know anything about hobby gaming, and they are hooked every single time. Now, Ticket to Ride comes in many flavors. There's Europe and Markland and Switzerland, each giving you just a little more of what you love.
So, how do you play Ticket to Ride? Well, there are a lot of other reviewers online that you can find that will show you gameplay mechanics and such. So I won't go into that here. I just say go ahead and grab yourself a copy and a friend and you won't be disappointed. Ticket to Ride, my choice for gateway game.
Hi, I'm the Board Game Renegade, and my favorite gateway game is Sushi Go from Game Right Games. It is a card drafting game for 2 to 5 players that plays out in about 15 minutes. If you're not familiar with a card drafting mechanism, it's essentially a mechanism where there is a collective group of cards and players are taking turns drafting these cards, taking these cards into their hand, and these cards work either together or against each other in tandem. Let me show you the game a little bit, and I'll tell you why I think this is a great gateway game. The first thing you'll notice is that these cards are cuter than babies. In this game, players start off with a hand of sushi cards, and what they want to do is collect sets of different sushis, because different sushis and different Japanese food items score differently. So they want to collect these sets in order to score. So what the players do is they select a card that they want, they put it aside, and they pass the card to the player to their left. Meanwhile, they receive the cards from the player from their right, and it continues and continues. And then these sets score differently. Some score more than others. Like, for example, here, if you get 3 sashimi, you get 3 points. If you get a salmon nigiri, you get 2 points. But if you get it with a wasabi, it multiplies it by 3. And the game continues, and you play 3 rounds of the game. And when you finish, the player with the most points wins. This is a great gateway game because it looks attractive. People are interested in playing it. It plays out in about 15 to 20 minutes. Very fun, very short, very easy to get into, and I recommend it, obviously. Aw, he's so cute. Coochie coochie goo. Yes, joking. I'm the Board Game Renegade. Thank you for watching. Until next time, peace out.
I hope you've enjoyed all of these gateway games from the Insta Gamers Network family. Hopefully you found something that will slake your thirst for a game when you just want something a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to digest than some of the heavier games. See you next time!